I'm Emily Galagaski with Women 2.0's In Conversation series. I'm here with Leila Chirayath Janah from Samasource.org, a social enterprise that aims to provide jobs for skilled but economically disadvantaged individuals.
Samasource is a social enterprise. We are working on two main programs right now. The first is defining what we're calling socially responsible outsourcing, which is really a new brand of outsourcing that focuses on small and medium-sized service providers in very poor parts of the world. And the second is we're connecting these small companies to a global market for services. We're running a pilot now with 8 small firms in Nairobi, rural India, Bihar, and Kathmandu, Nepal. And we do due diligence on the firms rather, and then connect them to clients based on a number of different skill sets they may have.
So how did you get interested in this work, and why is it important?
This interest has had a really long incubation period. I first got interested in social justice as a high school student in Los Angeles. I actually did work for the ACLU and a couple of organizations locally. But as a child of Indian immigrant parents, I was always curious about poverty in India and where they had grown up, and I never really had much direct exposure to it. When I was about 16 years old, I decided that I wanted to leave my cushy suburban life in Los Angeles and get out there and try to explore the world a bit more. And I ended up getting a scholarship that I convinced the organizers of to let me take and use to travel in Africa. So I found a volunteer opportunity in rural Ghana in a small town called Akropong, and it was sort of a shock to go there as a 17-year-old. But it was also the best thing that I've ever done. I think it really impacted me. My students, and I had about 60 of them, they were middle school aged, were incredibly bright, heartbreakingly bright. I had a student in particular, Femi Abbas, who would stay after class with me for 2 or 3 hours a day and ask me about opportunities outside of Ghana and how he might become a writer and where he might be able to get funding. And it really crushed me that people with Femi's talent were unable to succeed. And I think that as an American, especially this election year, we've all become very excited about meritocracy and about providing people with opportunity if they have the skill and the drive to take those opportunities. And I think that for a vast portion of the world, there simply are none of those opportunities. And I think that that's the biggest moral challenge of our time. So this seed was planted about 10 years ago, and I ended up studying African development, working for the World Bank in a couple of development projects, and getting kind of frustrated with the large-scale approach to economic development in places like Africa. I think that while large infrastructure projects are certainly needed, what I found time and time again is that the Femis of the world were being ignored by these development programs. And I decided that as an individual, the area in which I could have the most impact was in starting some kind of an organization that could provide more good job opportunities for people like Femi. And that was the initial inspiration behind Samasource.
And how have you found the Bay Area and Silicon Valley as a place to make this idea come to life?
I think that Silicon Valley, and I was there for about a year before moving up to San Francisco a month ago. I think that Silicon Valley is unparalleled as a nexus of entrepreneurship, both social entrepreneurship and the regular kind. And I think that being around technology companies and around the sort of innovation that's common here has been really beneficial. We share office space with several Y Combinator startups, and their work ethic has been really inspiring. And I think, frankly, many of the nonprofits that I know about just don't kind of have that same approach. So I think from that perspective, it's been really helpful. And I think from the perspective of being a socially focused organization, the Bay Area is an incredibly receptive place. There are tons of nonprofits active here. There's a nascent movement around social capital that's really rooted in the Bay Area. There was a social capital markets conference here a few weeks ago that we participated in. So I think there's also the sort of enabling environment that you need to succeed as a social entrepreneur here in a way that doesn't exist elsewhere.
Thank you so much.